got you on live, man. How you doing?
I'm good. Getting ready for this fight, promoting the show, making sure Austin's ready on the undercard, matching the undercard fights.
Yeah.
Scott, what's it like being the promoter, fighting, and kind of managing Austin as well? Because I know we deal with Chris a lot, so it's like, I think that's very interesting dynamic.
It's very difficult, and I think that's why I have basically been forced into promoting this event by Dusty and his people. It was a very calculated, really subtle thing. There was no venues available for a co-promotion. There was none of this. Well, how about you do it, Scott? And it might seem like that's advantageous for me having it here in Lynchburg, but that's quite the contrary. Dusty, all he's got to do is train to fight me, show up, and he's going to get the biggest payday of his career to be in the ring against me, even more than when he headlined Madison Square Garden. So, I'm sure, his panhandling for this event was successful.
Yeah. Going off of that, what do you see in the undercard too for Austin and everyone else? How was that just kind of going that demographic of going back and forth and trying to deal with that and keeping your mental space in check with that, with you fighting?
Like I said, it's difficult. I've become less resistant to it as I've gotten older. When I was younger, it was a lot easier on me. I'm not sure why. Maybe I care more now. But we got Zach Drago on this undercard. Zach's become a real fan favorite here locally, and he's going to be fighting Kelvin Kibler, who's appeared on several of my cards. He had a great performance against Justin Gunther, even winning around. He really pushed Coleman Doss to the limit. I suspect that he'll do a great job against Zach and bring the best out in Zach. So, I feel like that's a great fight on the undercard. I know we got Money Meal off of Street Beefs. He's going to make his pro debut. Scarface and I have been communicating. I think I'm going to turn some of his guys pro on some of my events in the future. I'm really looking forward to expanding my relationship with the Street Beefs crew as well. I know Rocky Zapata has had a freak injury and may not compete on this card. That's still yet to be seen. We have a 20-1 heavyweight that's going to be appearing on the card. We have a 15-0 cruiserweight with 15 knockouts that's going to be appearing on the card. So that's a great fight. Of course, my star pupil, Austin Deonda, the Native Nightmare, is going to be appearing on the undercard. He's going to be fighting in a fight that could be a main event on its own right. He's fighting North Carolina legend James Shotgun Winchester. Although James is 44 years old, he just recently went the distance with Jerron Boots Ennis, I think maybe 3 or 4 years ago, who's a pound-for-pound elite in the sport right now. Shotgun always comes to fight. He's really rugged. He's really durable. And I feel like he's going to make Austin fight to the maximum of his capabilities to get the win. So I think it'll be a great showcase fight for Austin Deonda.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I think honestly, you put on events I've always exceptionally loved them, and I think that this is going to be it's just going to keep a stepping stone on it too as well.
Yeah, I think the only one that I've had in my comeback fights that was kind of poor was the one that I fought on recently, and usually my fight always carries the show because I always put myself in really dangerous situations for the benefit of the crowd. I fought a man that had already bested me several years earlier in Nick Kisner, and Nick unfortunately tore his bicep. And, a lot of people held that against me. It wasn't my fault, and it was my apologies about that. But, with Dusty Harrison, 36-0, 22 knockouts, I don't see this being something that's uncompetitive if I can get him to the ring. But I've had so many hecklers with this event, guys calling me in the middle of the night, people threatening me. I had one guy call me. He told me he was a violent convicted felon like 10 times. And I was just like, congratulations on losing your right to vote. I'm not sure how I'm supposed to respond to that. It was really strange for him to announce that to me repeatedly. I did tell him that if he was in the area, I would hire him, though. But
You told me you feel better and more comfortable around people that have like a record or like that kind of
I wouldn't say I feel more comfortable. I'm real big on redemption stories and people that come from nothing. And, I came from body camp, and a lot of my buddies, we grew up with lesser means, and it means a lot to me to be able to help people that are hoeing that hard road as well. Like Deonda, Austin. Nothing against his family. Like I said, nothing against my family. I had real humble upbringings, and I feel like so is he. So to give him the opportunity to reach for a greater level of financial security is a real blessing to me.
Shout out Austin Deanna. We've grown real fond of his. I met his dad recently working here at Real Property Management. He's a great guy, great family. You told me before, I think, the Augusta event, we had talked on the phone a little bit about how Crossway was gonna provide, like alcohol, not kind of the same things like Rock Hill was gonna do.
Well, not provide, but it's available for purchase, which is very difficult with the laws in place in Virginia. So if the venue is not an alcohol license holder, you can no longer get a ABC license in the state of Virginia. I know myself and the owner of the Clubhouse Bar and Billiards, we did a special trial with the ABC, and they basically read the language to us. It said a promoter of an event shall not hold a license. And I asked them what we could do about it, because I had held maybe 20 or 30 alcohol licenses previous to that, and they told me I should hire a lobbyist. So I'm not hiring a lobbyist.
They're expensive.
Yeah, getting into changing laws and whatnot.
I'm excited to see what Crosswhite looks like.
Yeah.
That's going to be.
Yeah.
I've never been inside there. That's going to be an interesting venue.
Yeah, it's like a family gym. Also, it's kind of mixed with a country club. It's got a real good, upbeat, positive atmosphere. It's definitely an upscale gym.
Oh, yeah.
I really like it. I mean, I look forward to working with Ben and Crosswhite Athletic Club for years to come. He's got a great outdoor canopy. We could maybe have outdoor events during the summer. He's a team player. I think a lot of times venues come in, they try to hit you with multiple millions of dollars of insurance. They try to tell you every person that comes in, you have to pay them $5,000, $10,000 rent, but I think Ben looks at it as local helping local, and I think it's a business endeavor that can benefit both entities, along with the fighters and the fans.
No, they're a really classy establishment, and like high quality, high quality. I can't wait to see what it looks like inside. What's the capacity?
We don't talk about those numbers just for but, more than we've been having.
Perfect. That's all I need to hear.
Yeah. So with this fight coming up, so you were talking about previously your fight, they got your opponent towards bicep and all that, and I know that was kind of like the last hoorah at the time. What did you feel like that, how it played out, that you were like, I need to get this other one, and then the opportunity with Dusty?
No, I mean, I was completely fine with stepping away. I mean, I think that's apparent from June to September. I had gained so much weight. I was like 230 pounds. I never had planned on fighting again. The Jake Paul thing has been mentioned to me several times. He's not ready to fight me, but down the road he is potentially interested in it. I mean, it's a lot of money, but it's just not something that. And no knock against Jake. I think what Jake's doing for the sport is great. It's just not something, and I feel like it's a very gracious offer, the dollar amount that I've been given. But it's just weird, the things that motivate me now. And for me, I feel like Dusty is like a legacy fight for me. He'll by far be my greatest victory that I've ever had in my career. And it's really, there's been a lot of complex things that have happened in the lead up to this. And people have tried to make me into being a bully or like I'm crazy or something. But, it all started, I think it was September 9th. I'm not sure what the date was, but it was September. And Dusty was on his comeback fight. I was so excited. I walked down. I was like, hey, Dusty, man, how you been? I was like, if you want to fight, man, you can fight. And he like put his arm around me. He's like, yeah, man, I'd love that. Like, Dusty's always got that positive energy, or at least he always had to me. So he said he would. So I went out, and, I'm a good writer. So I took about 30 minutes. I wrote a press release. I came back. I let Dusty and his man look at it. And we're like, yeah, that's great. I was like, all right, well, right after you fight, I'll share it. And so I did. They approved it. I mean, I don't know if you guys seen that original call out, but I mean, it was so nice. I gave him his flowers. I talked about all the positives. And then we had a little mock-up poster. He shared it. We couldn't find a venue for several months in the Richmond area because we were trying to do it between us. And it was floated around, why don't I just do it? So he agreed to a certain dollar amount to the fight. And then I went out and got the date with the state and got the date with the venue. And then all of a sudden, after like 90 days of consistent talking to each other, no response. No, there was, I got $4,000 or $5,000 shelled out to get the show. There's no response. There's no answering. And, all of his fans, they want to believe what I believed about him. But I mean, I can tell you, and I mean, I'm going to explain this in great detail through this whole story so you guys know a lot of them, they prefer the ignorance. Ignorance is bliss. He's this really righteous guy. He's a God-fearing man. He's the consummate nice guy. But see, all of that is just, it's smoke and mirrors. The more that I've shined the light into the darkness, I've just seen what he is. So, I booked the venue and he had told me for like 90 days straight it was good. And then his phone was off. As a matchmaker and promoter, you know what that means. It means the guy's not going to do it. So I sent him his contract. I harassed him a little bit, what he agreed to. And then I got a call from his coach. And his coach was like, hey, man, look, this is the new terms, and they tried to drop the weight 7 pounds, but we moved the weight up, dropped it down 5. They wanted to drop the rounds. I told him we weren't going to get out of the rounds. He wants a shorter fight. He wants to outpoint me. They asked for double the money. They came down on that a little bit, but still a lot more than the original ask. And so, we got the contract signed, but I mean, I had to, act a fool to get it done. And then in the lead up to this most recent fight, he has notified people not to mention my name during the telecast. He's not mentioned the fight at all. Even after he fought, he didn't mention it. So, he's being petty. He's asking for all this money and he's putting all the onus on me. He's not helping sell a single ticket. And to me, that's just petty on like a really different level. And then his coach recently texted me. We're going to talk about glove brands and for him, because we know what I'm wearing and I want to make sure everything's out the way for a main event. Anything could cause an issue. And, his coach responds to me, we're weighing our options. We're not even sure about your show. And I'm not. So, so I screenshot it and I put it up and, he's telling people that are in boxing that I took it out of context. And I'm like, oh, what do you mean? We're still not sure about your show. We're weighing our options. So, my attorney's drawing up something now. And, Matthew Pack, Fight Back with Pack. He's a close friend, a sponsor, a great attorney. So, I mean, he can either get knocked out by me or get knocked out in the court of law by Mr. Pack. I mean, either way, he's taking a loss. I mean, he might as well come take this ass whooping. That's where it's at. I'll make a lot more money. I mean, the damages that he's going to cause to my company by not honoring his word are a lot greater. But I mean, just think about the cowardice that this has taken. And just like, he's texting me things about don't bring my family to the event. I better get better insurance because I'm going to leave in an ambulance, right? It's just clown shit because he said all of that and then he wouldn't sign the contract. I mean, this guy, and I used to think that the fight was going to be really difficult. And don't get me wrong, like Dusty Harrison isn't a tremendous athlete. I mean, he was 166-31 as an amateur, 36-0 as a pro. But I've seen so much about him through all of this that I couldn't believe it's true. And, I've been saying this, he's the greatest lie that's ever been told in the sport of boxing. So like a casual fan might look at 36-0 and be like, man, that's a good record. And, guys that know a little bit more like a hardcore fan will look at the guys he fought and they'll be like, man, that's a good record. But then like a matchmaker like myself, I'll look at the guys that he fought, who they fought. And, he even passed that test for me. But when Dusty started trying to duck, so I looked at not the guys that he beat, not the guys that they beat, but the guys with the big records that they had beat. I mean, he's beaten blown up guys off of blown up records, I mean, it's the 3 or 4 deep fold. I mean, it is a marvel of matchmaking. It's like, it's a magic trick, but I'm going to show everybody how it was done on March 16th. I mean, you ever stepped on a spider and the way it seizes up after you step on it and it's dead, all the hydraulic fluid and everything? That's what Dusty's going to look like on March 16th.
I love it.
Well, don't you
I
think?
mean, such a, like, literally everything I stand for in the sport of boxing, fake belts. It's amazing to me. It is a marvel to me that he has faked it and got as far as he has. It literally stands for everything that I'm against in the sport of boxing. And I've literally grown to hate him. And just like his coach, man, like, I really thought Bruce Babashan was like a legit guy. But even he's trying to backpedal and get Dusty out of this fight. And his little hype man minion, Mike Walters, like, everybody hates him. Like, this just whole group of people, like, why would you get in the sport? He could have been an actor. I mean, damn, he's doing a good job at doing this. I mean, he could have picked something else, but, no matter what, I know one of two results is going to happen. Either he's going to get in that ring and I'm going to knock him the hell out, or he's going to pull out and I'm going to show everybody what a coward he really is. But either way, to me, that's a victory, because in either circumstance, I own Dusty Harrison the rest of his life. Because I mean, you guys know what kind of person I am. Mm-hmm. He is not going to forget about either one, especially the backing out. That one's going to be worse. Because, see, when I knock him out, it'll just be my profile picture the remainder of my life. But if he backs out, I got to keep telling him about it.
Yeah,
make those posts.
Yeah. Well, don't you think him like ducking and playing this like running game is like kind of like mental warfare to kind of like let you ease up off your training or something like that?
I mean, I think there could be some gamesmanship there. Like, maybe he thinks he'll piss me off more. That's not possible. I'm just pissed off all the time. So he's not going to make me more angry. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. I'm not going to train less hard. Like, oh man, he might not come. Like, I'm eating very little. I'm working out very hard. I'm staying pissed off. I mean, he's either going to not show up and get knocked out, or he won't show up and I'll have 5% body fat on the 15th. Either one, I'm cool with it, right? Like, I mean,
it's a W either way for him.
I mean, I think I don't see how he couldn't come. I mean, it was funny, some of his fans were attacking me and they were like, man, you're not even a worthy opponent. You're not even a worthy opponent. You got 15 losses. I mean, I've lost to 2 international boxing Hall of Famers. One was the heavyweight champion of the world. I mean, oh man, those losses are hard. They were like, well, who have you beaten? Nick Kisner, he was an 8-time national amateur champion. Max Alexander was on the Contender. He also fought for a world title. Jonathan Reed fought for a world title. He was on the Contender. I mean, I got a slew of victories over top level opposition. So, and they were like, well, you're just not a worthy opponent. So then I asked him, it's got to make sense. But see, like I said, the ignorance with the people that follow him, and look, I'm as shocked as they are because I was a fan. But the ignorance is bliss. Like, so I'm not a worthy opponent, but the guy that was 42 years old, that was 19 and 18, that dove on the ground, that was a worthy opponent. Or the guy that was 42 years old, that coming off a 5-year layoff, that was 22 and 14, that he picked up from the airport, drove to the fight, and their families hung out before the fight. And then the guy basically dove on the ground the first time he was hit. That guy was a worthy opponent, but not me. Or like, they're talking about, oh, Scott being mean and being aggressive. It makes me not want to do it. It makes me want to back out the fight. I bet it does. I'm actually going to show up to fight you. You can't write, your checkbook ain't big enough to make a deal with me to dive on the ground. Like, this is a disservice to boxing. Like, he's been walking around in rooms with people like me, and we've been considering him one of us. But he's not one of us. I mean, he's like I said, he's the greatest lie that I've ever seen told in boxing. And he's just so fake, man. He acts altruistic, he acts righteous. But really, man, deep down in his core, he's just a piece of shit.
Man, Scott, I love hearing you talk like that because I mean I'm a relatively amateur boxing fan. I think like you guys' boxing events has been the most I've ever seen in boxing. And I hate it when everyone's all lovey-dovey with each other. I want everybody to hate each other.
I mean, I didn't want it to be like this. I don't really prefer this. It definitely has turned me off to the sport more as a combatant. Like me and Nick were friends, but I wasn't like lovey-dovey in the locker room with him. He came over to try to talk to me. I told him to go back on his side. Now we'll fight. We'll talk afterwards. I mean, it ended unfortunately. It's been a long time, pre-Pavlik, that I've trashed somebody like this. Now, before, I did it because I was ignorant. I would talk trash, thought I had to hate my opponent. And Kelly Pavlik, he really humbled me. He beat me to a bloody pulp. A lot of people said it was a blood sacrifice on ESPN main event. But, you're a young kid. You're a great athlete. You think you know everything. And, Pavlik gave me a good whooping on national TV. It was pretty embarrassing for me. And then, Pavlik was a good guy. After that, I don't think I've had any opponents where I disliked them or where I felt like I needed to hate them. But I'm a really honest person, and I don't like to misrepresent or sugarcoat anything. And Dusty, I thought, was a friend and a peer, and he was a fighter that I was a fan of. And when I found out the kind of person that he is, the character that he so lacks, it hurt me as a fan to him, just to see like just how poor of a broken man he is and how he's coddled by everyone. Like his coach, Scott, it's just bigger than you. It's bigger than you. What do you mean it's bigger than me? He signed the contract. Well, I mean, what is he? I don't understand. Like they're talking in code, like everybody's coddling. They're all yes man. Look, the guy's fast, right? He's a powerful puncher. Like these little mediocre guys. And I'm not even an elite fighter, man. Don't get me wrong. I'm not an elite fighter. Every time I fought like a guy that was a world champ, I got smoked. What I am is I'm a really high level measuring stick. If you got a world champion that loses and they want to see if he still got it, they fight Scott Sigmon. If you got a prospect that was an Olympian and he's 20-0 and you're ready to step him into a world title fight, they put him in with Scott Sigmon. If they pass the test, they're legit. So I don't think Dusty Harrison is interested to see if he measures up to the test. And that's why I had to bully him into the fight. And see, the thing is, man, it's not like I bullied him into the fight. I just bullied him I just expected him to honor his word. That's all I wanted. Mm-hmm. And like I said in the beginning, there's another fighter that I know that I'm pretty cool with, and I think he's rated like number 5 or 6 in the WBA. So after Dusty flaked that, I called him. I was like, hey, man, would you be interested in fighting me in Lynchburg, blah, blah. Now, he fights in a weight class below, and I asked him to move up. And he was like, Scott, look, I got to be honest, I do think I'd beat you, but you're a tough fight for anybody, just because I'm so gritty and I'm tenacious. He was like, but to be ranked this high in the WBA, I can get a $200,000 fight. Why would I come to Lynchburg for $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 and risk that? It doesn't make sense. And I was like, see, how hard was that? And he's like, did you try to fight Dusty? And I was like, yes. And so, like, if Dusty would have just told me that the fight didn't work for him, it didn't move him forward, any of that, we would have never been here. But I had to hear the snickering and the joking and the smiling about how easy it was. And then the fight was agreed to and then renegotiated. So now he's going to have to see me. But I mean, I have never guaranteed a victory in my whole career. I was telling my wife this. I've never guaranteed a victory. I don't usually think in terms of winning and losing. I know that sounds crazy. Some people might say it's a winner, loser's mentality, but I just set a game plan. I take the pressure off myself and just do the game plan. If it's enough, it's enough. But I am going to guarantee this fight. There is zero chance. Like, he is going to melt in front of me. Like, you're going to see it. Like, the first time, and it might not even be me hitting him. He might hit me with one of them big monster right hands he throws. And when he just sees me look back at him and smile, I think it's just going to crush him. I mean, he's a mental midget. So, I mean, he's just looking for a reason to pull out. And people were trying to say I was talking about his family. I was not. I actually love his family. But I do expect, so I got a doctor ready for this. He's going to get COVID or the flu or RSV the week of the fight, which is going to be out of season for those things. But, I think that could happen. He could break his hand or roll his ankle, or he'll get a cut. Those things could maybe come up that I could see. Or this fictitious Aunt Sarah that lives in South Africa that doesn't exist might pass away. And, maybe, it like a piece of paper could blow by him on the street and he's going to try to use it as a reason not to fight me. The shit is ridiculous. Like, just honor your word, man. Have some integrity. Like, his coach trying to back him out to fight and then lying about it, even though I got the text message. Like, what is going on? Like, these aren't lies. And then people said I was trying to broke shame him. All right. First off, the dude is 36-0. Okay. Now, you got to ask yourself, why has he never made $100,000, $200,000, or $300,000 payday at 36-0? I was talking to Scarface off Street Beefs. He goes, I know a little bit about pro boxing. Obviously, I'm in the Street Beefs, but he said, at that point, you should be fighting guys for money. If you're not, then that's your choice. So why has he not went out and got that payday? Because he wants to lie to continue that he's unbeaten. So now he's going to come for a tenth of the money and get knocked out in Central Virginia. He's going to come. He could have got $200,000 or $300,000. But now look, that's why I call him a vanity fighter. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got to a certain point, I thought whoever paid me the most. I didn't think in terms of, oh my gosh, I could get hurt, I could get knocked out, I could get embarrassed. I went and did my damn job, and that's the fight.
So how many tickets you got left for this event?
We don't say exact numbers, but we have about a quarter of them left.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's been blowing up. Every time I'm on Facebook, it's something on it. And that to me, honestly, that's good, because that just gets me excited. I'm like, okay, that just from a fan perspective, right? Well,
that's another thing. Maybe him talking about maybe pulling out. He probably wants to hurt my fans' confidence, because he wants them not to come to the event. He wants them not to buy tickets, because who does the financial burden fall on? Me. So if I'm taking a loss, maybe I'll cancel the show. Then I'll be the one that's scared. But little does he know, see, he thinks he's a ticket seller. He's not a ticket seller. He's all hype, right? So casual fans, even the ones that want to believe in you, once you've knocked out 26 cab drivers in a row, when a guy comes out and he's punching like this, right? And once you've done that, people eventually stop spending $50, $100 to come watch you fight. They don't want to see that shit, right? So, he probably thinks, oh, I'm going to hurt Scott's bottom line. I'm not going to help him. Guess what, buddy? We're already in the green. So, you can back out right now. What? It's not going to hurt me. And then Austin Deanna's going to be elevated to the main event. Mm-hmm. Austin's, like I said, shotgunning him is a great main event himself. And as a matter of fact, I truly hope that he's dumb enough to back out. I hope that, because I really want to see how good Pack Law Group is. And I think they're pretty good.
Very good.
There's no Pack Law Group.
I think they're pretty solid.
They be everywhere. So,
man, that's awesome, Scott. Man, we respect you like crazy. You're the one of the best PR people I think I've ever seen. You just rock. There's no such thing as bad PR, and you kill it.
It's the
every
harassment.
time.
It's the harassment for him. He gonna get you.
I mean, I don't know that look, you notice for a couple of weeks I didn't say nothing. I was just thanking people that was coming to the fight.
Yeah.
They got to stop giving me stuff. Right? Like, look, if bullshit happens, I'm gonna call it.
100%.
Right?
Respect.
Like this guy called me from up there after. By the way, that we got on a little tangent, but like I said, I was never trying to broke shame him, and everybody was talking about why am I putting up a bank account with $100,000 in it or whatever. By the way, I know that got his fans feeling some kind of way because I had about 30 calls from anonymous numbers trying to tell me $100,000 is no kind of money. That's odd to me when these polls are saying 95% of people are living paycheck to paycheck. Right? So but anyway, the only reason I put the bank account up was because he gave me a number. Like he thought it was going to scare me. He said, "Why don't we just bet $15,000 or $20,000 against each other?" And I immediately agreed. And then all of a sudden, we never heard nothing else about that. Like if he was like, how are people saying I'm gonna bet on Dusty? My money's on Dusty. Dusty's money ain't even on Dusty. How in the hell are you gonna bet on him? Like these people that are attacking me that are his fans, why has he not talked about this fight? Why did he hype up the Colombian that was going to dive on the ground? Why did he hype up the guy from Mexico that dove on the ground? Why did he hype those fights up? Why does nobody know he's fighting Scott Sigmon? Right? These are the kinds of things as a supporter of your fighter that you need to ask yourself. Like, why do you know about the prearranged guy that's diving on the ground that's in the back saying Hail Marys with him before the fight, hugging on his wife? Why do you know about that fight, but you don't know about the guy that's actually going to bust him up? I mean, it's just so much lies, man. It's just all is just lies. It makes me sick. Like literally, all I think about all day is just how trash of a human this guy is. It's horrible. Like it is horrible.
I think it's the slyness to it, like you said, like the nice to your face, and then the almost the pettiness behind the whole thing, and it trying to brush things under the rug. I think that's what definitely like would grind my gears too.
Yeah, I mean, he's taking the high road. Well, the high road's to honor your word.
Yeah, just fight. Like we just want to see a fight. That's it, right?
You signed it. I mean, that's on the dotted line. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably some gamesmanship by him, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, I would take the odds with the guy with the 37, 15-1. I got 15 losses. I heard Pack Law Group's undefeated. And he didn't fight a bunch of Colombians that he paid side money to dive on the ground either. He really beat them.
Huh.
Exactly.
Huh.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll see March 16th.
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe.
We shall see, right?
Maybe.
Cross White Fitness Center, March 16th. Maybe we'll see.
Maybe there'll be a ticket left.
Maybe we'll see Scott versus Dusty.
I think I'm about 90% sure. I mean, I don't see how as a man, when you've been called on all your bullshit. And see, that's why he's been real quiet, because he knows he's wrong.
Mhm.
He knows.
Yeah, fair. Is there anything that you would like to say? Any shout outs or anything?
Yeah, we're gonna wrap it up.
Wrap your
Yeah,
promotion.
no, I mean, there's one thing, and it's this Booker T. Washington quote, and I've been sharing it a lot. And I just think that there's nothing better than this quote for this. A lie doesn't become truth, wrong doesn't become right, and evil doesn't become good just because it's accepted by a majority. And that sums up the life and the career of Dusty Harrison. All lies, all deceit, all fake. And I'm going to end it.
Love it. Love it. We love it, Scott. Good luck. And put that one loss next to his record. That's all.
Oh, we already got the shirts made. It's like the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Got them made.
Hey, we look forward to hearing from you, man. We're gonna top 3 tickets, and maybe we'll see it.
Hey, I appreciate you guys for the support.
Thank you,
Absolutely.
Scott. Hey, you do anything, boss.
Okay.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.